and know that there may be a few more people coming on.
Yeah, I do expect, yes, we should have, I think for sure, soon. Oh, good, and here comes Despina.
Okay, great.
I've reminded Frederica.
Okay.
Mahmoud is unable to come. I'm hoping he's going to go to the other session.
Yeah, we invited him. So.
Good.
Okay. Great. So this is to follow up on our last, trying to get my, always free, oh, there we go. So I can move. Our last training was on self-care. And I'm really excited to talk to y'all about how things have worked and what have been challenges. So let's just start with a moment of silence and taking 3 deep breaths in and breathing out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, wanted to just, whoops, didn't want to do that yet. I think I have to take this, but out of the, how do I do that? Yeah. Okay, so what was some of the goals and intentions that you had set for self-care? And we'll just type a few of those in here. Angelina, would you like to start?
Yes, sure. Some of my intentions for self-care were to have more time for friends.
Great.
And for sport.
And for what?
Sport. For moving.
Sports.
Yeah, for sport, yeah.
Great. Sari.
So one of my intentions was to go more regularly for walks during my workday. And to at least one day a week go somewhere other than my house to work. So either a coffee shop or to work together with friends at someone's house.
Great. Mamoon?
Yes, I did a nice hike since the last call, and the weather is not helping me to do another hike, but I'm planning to do another hike tomorrow with my son.
Great. Karima?
I said I'd cultivate the playful side of things.
Wonderful. Subi?
So it's already been taken, but spend more time with friends and read a book.
Okay. Frederica?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, Linda, can you circle back around to me in a minute?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Despina? What was one of your intentions or goals for self-care from last time? I don't know if Despina can hear me.
I can speak now. Maybe I'll talk later.
Okay. Who else? Karen.
Hello, Linda. Mine was to get better sleep
Okay.
I'm not very good with that. And the other one was to get more exercise.
Okay.
Thank you.
This one, Deb, what was your intention or goal?
To get reconnected with old friends, the school times, because at that time in my life I did a lot of music with them, so they bring a lot of values of music in my life. So trying to locate them, trying to find them in Facebooks and reconnecting with them.
Nice. That's great. Okay. Is there anyone else? I don't know if Frederica or Despina need to pass. Oh, Alice, sorry.
That's okay. I had two. One was to walk, and the other was write to tell myself the story.
What was that second one, Alice?
Write to tell myself the story. So I don't actually 100% remember what that came out of, but I can imagine that it's like a way to see whatever's happening from the outside.
Sure. Okay.
Gotcha. Wonderful. So, so what have been some successes in reaching those intentions? I heard some people say they've already done that. They already taken a walk and planned a hike and did a hike. What are some other successes?
It looks like Frederica's back, Linda.
Frederica, yes. What was a goal that you might have had? Or
I was thinking a lot about how Matt shared about just taking like a burnout week and feeling inspired to do that.
Okay, wonderful. Have you set that time aside yet?
Tentatively. And sorry, everybody, it's a snow day here, so there's no school, so I have my little people around.
Oh, yes, I've heard Seattle's been getting really banged with snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who else? Successes.
I have
Okay.
mostly done 1 day a week. In the past, I guess it's been a month. I haven't been. I wanted to go for walks 3 times a week. I've maybe gone once a week.
Okay.
Better than I was before.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
Yes, for me, I trained myself to say no, and I said no for 2 persons, which is
You said no to what?
2 persons.
The 2 persons.
Yeah, got it. That's wonderful. And you didn't even have my button.
Was difficult. It's not that's my style, but
I know, it's really hard, isn't it?
yes, it is extremely hard.
Yeah, it is. Oh, what is this cute young woman who's joined us on Frederica's screen? What is your name?
Muted.
Want to say your name?
Where's you?
Here's us. Want to say your name? No. Okay.
Hi. Hi, two beautiful young ladies. Hi. Okay. Thank you. Who else?
I have been a little successful in at least connecting over the phone, although I have failed terribly in terms of meeting them one-on-one. So yeah.
Okay. Great.
I also reconnect with some of my old friends, and I invited them to some of our next URI events.
Good.
So in this way, I can combine friendship with work.
That's always great. That's always great. Karima?
And Oh, yeah, I played with one of the singers that first we met in 1983. And it was like so many years after we together made some music. And it was like 50 people in the gathering. And I didn't know, we both did so awesome that we never realized. So music is really not something about knowing so depth in notation, but connecting heart to heart made music so special. And when he was singing on the stage, we just all met with our own effort, and we decided to do music together, and we played on a stage, and it blown away everybody, and we were so happy each other, knowing that, how we have gone through so much in life and still how music can be so joyful. And
Yes.
we were so deepened into the music that people felt so awesome. And now people thinking that they would record both of us together.
Oh, wonderful. That's so great. Congratulations, Biswadeb. Karima?
Yes, connecting with the playful side of things. Sometimes I laughed at how things were going anyway. Maybe I can do more, just jumping like a child every now and then or something like that.
Yeah. I'll have to show you the shoes I got for my birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do play with my
Yeah,
nieces,
playful.
which is great. They are 1 and 3. That helps a lot.
Oh, yes, that does help a lot. Karen?
So the exercise is not so great because I find that I want to get my work done and all my chores done, and then exercise seems to be the last thing. So I changed it, and I thought, well, what am I going to do? And so I turned up the music, and I danced and sang to music as exercise and kind of in between. So I just try to switch it into something more fun than seeing exercise as a chore is the one thing.
Exactly.
And then with the sleep, I've got yeah, making it fun. And then with the sleep, I had, I would say, almost 3 weeks of success and then a week of not as successful. So it just depends. I seem to get really affected by the moon. I can't sleep when it's
Oh,
full
yes.
moon.
Yes, when it's full. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it was really struggle. Thank you.
Alice?
I did well taking short walks. I haven't done the writing.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? I don't know if Despina can hear us or not, but we know she's there. So great successes. And, even if you do one day when you wanted to do 3 or 1 week, 3 weeks when you wanted to do 4, I think that's amazing. That's really amazing. So great job. So what did people find as challenges or barriers to meeting their goals? Karima?
I would say really not wanting to disappoint people who are waiting for some responses, etc.
Okay.
For me, I think time is the main challenge for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my one was the explanation for the time, lack of time. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Good.
Wanting to just, keep working or
Yeah.
feeling like I have to, that pressure.
Okay. Alice?
For me, remembering what it is or what I want to do. That's separate from the routine.
Yes.
Yeah.
like the writing.
Right.
Anybody else have that problem of just forgetting that they had a commitment to do something?
Yeah, me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Linda,
like
I think a commitment to
What's that, Subi?
so for me, I couldn't meet people is because I get so tired with traveling for work, and because I am engaging with so many people at the same time that by the time it's weekend or it's the day finishes, I'm just so tired and exhausted that I just don't want to talk anymore. I just don't want to go out and like. So yeah, I think it's just about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So maybe your self-care is being home and being quiet
Yes.
for that period of time. And that's okay too. Anyone else?
We can add the weather, because I'm trying to do a hike this week and it's keep raining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Weather wants
I
you to
just
take a
comment-
total break.
Can I just go off of what Subi said?
Yeah.
Because I think it's her desire, like it sounds like Subi, your desire, like what your heart wants is to be with your friends.
Yeah.
But like what your body needs is rest. And I just want to recognize that those things are in tension, and maybe you feel like you need to stay at home, but how can it, I wonder what can be adjusted so that that's not the case, right? Like I don't believe that work should be so like taking all of your energy to the degree where you can't do anything else with your life.
That's so true.
That just feels really hard to me, and I'm sorry that that's how it feels right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the fact is that it just like drains out completely that I just can't do anything else.
Right.
So I'm finding it difficult to like do a work personal life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have anything around challenges? And we can dive deeper into that. Thank you, Sari. Karen, did you have anything?
I just wanted to say that it seems my own personal goal for something seems to come third, fourth, or fifth instead of first, maybe. You know, that thing of look, take care of yourself because then you're strong enough to do everything else. Or so that seems to, somehow I've got that screwed in my head and I need to unscrew it.
Yeah, great. Okay.
That's hard too.
Yeah.
It could also just be procrastination and avoidance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start thinking about these. I like so tired I don't feel like seeing anyone, and yet you really want to. So what are some thoughts people have about that? How do you figure out? I'm sure this is something we all deal with. A lot of people said, you know, we're so busy, we're so overworked. What are some things that you could do?
Change priorities.
Change priorities. And that's easier said than done. How would you go about that? How would you make you number one?
Yeah, exactly.
We're dying for you to tell us, Linda.
No, I know. I'm hoping you can help me figure out some answers to this. How would you do it, Karen?
I think it's I quite frankly think it's a love of self. And I don't mean that I mean that in the truest sense. Like you love yourself enough to honor yourself and honor your commitment to self. So that would be my response.
Mm-hmm. But that's really hard to do, isn't it?
I think it takes practice, like anything else.
Mm-hmm. It does. How many people have needed to slow down and didn't, and then their body just took over and got sick? Yeah. It's not the best way to slow down. It's not very pleasant, but your body insists that you slow down. So how can you begin to recognize that you need to do that before you just collapse and get sick and can't do it anyway? How do you begin to make, maybe even take a sick day off? That's really about recuperation and feeding yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think it also
Means like
takes
getting
listening
burnout and
to the
Sorry.
body. Sorry.
Listening to the body, yes.
Yeah, just sensing, trying to sense the body. And yeah.
Great.
And trust it will be fine to take that day out.
Yeah.
It's trust also.
Mhm.
Linda,
Yep.
I empathize with what Subi was saying about, and what I heard Sari say also, that the heart wants to do one thing, or part of Subi wants to go out and see friends, and then part feels exhausted.
Mm.
And I think for me, part of what's helpful sometimes is to redefine self-care in the moment, or to notice what I'm doing and declare that it's self-care. So for example, with Subi's example, and this happens to me too, like, forget it, I'm too tired, I can't do anything. I'm finally leaving work, and now I'm gonna go home and not interact with anybody because I'm too tired. And if I say that to myself, like I'm defeated, I really wanted to go do this other thing, but I just don't have the energy. Wow, I'm failing, so I'm gonna go home and be exhausted. Then that feels bad. But if I can say, well, I'm really tired, and so I'm gonna instead of taking care of myself by going to do this fun thing, I'm gonna take care of myself by going home and turning off my phone. And I'm doing that because I am really taking care of myself, and that's a good thing. Then it can feel better to me to do that. And instead of feeling like, well, I'm defeated by not doing the social thing, I can feel like, well, good for me because I'm taking care of myself. It doesn't actually, that's a challenge for me to say, like, pat myself on the back for staying home and being quiet, because it's easier to feel regret that I'm missing out on something instead of saying props to me.
Yeah. Any other ideas? Any other thoughts about this? This what, Deb?
I don't know how to put it in one word, but what Alice said, I would like to say it in a brief. I met one of my recent friend, which I was trying to get back to my old friend to do little music. And then when you really get a chance to meet, the stories, and some stories can be very pathetic. How I met one friend and he was trying to be big musicians, and now he's begging in a train. And it was too heartbreaking, and I didn't want it to. It took me back. I didn't want it to know what people are doing anymore, because I feel so helpless that how he could be ended up just singing in a train. And I think the process is how we do start the self-reconciliation, how we have to refuge in our own spiritual development of taking these as part of the life. So I think it is very important, which held me in a situation of really knowing that this is all about life. I won't be expecting what makes me comfortable. So how do we prepare ourselves to accept the situations and to really overcome to it and see what is our role in that situation in life? So I'm really trying to think on that. So it's more of a self-reconciliation.
Gotcha. Yeah. Really important. Thank you. That was really hard. So I'll just share one.
Can I ask a question? I'm wondering, how many of us feel like that exhaustion at the end of the day? Like when you're done working, are you just totally oh my God, I'm done?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is this normal? Like, or are we all doing something wrong? Or like, because I don't feel like, right? Like ideally work is not like taking all of your energy, like, right?
Yeah.
Ideally you are being energized by what you're doing. And yes, you're expending energy because you have to, but like, I don't know. I just feel like if the majority of us are feeling like exhausted by our work, that isn't a good sign.
Crispina raised her hand. Were you wanting to say something, or were you just in agreement that you feel exhausted? I'm assuming in agreement.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. In agreement, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think it is a common thing among those who do social justice work. I think I've seen it because we don't do 9-to-5 jobs that we can leave and forget about, or take breaks from. And it's become more and more a culture of all kinds of work that people are overworking. It's becoming an international epidemic, and there's been a lot of studies about it. And it's been connected to more illness, more chronic illness, more disease. So I think for us, the idea is to figure out, how do we structure our work? How do we learn to say no? How do we balance some of this? Because we talked a lot about burnout. Burnout's not just maybe getting totally overwhelmed and tired. It can be illness. And I want to share something about this at the end of the day when you're tired and you don't feel like you can do anything. I've struggled with a lot of fatigue due to multiple sclerosis for 35 years. And I'm just going to give this idea, throw one idea out. One of the things I do is it's very hard for me to get out and go a lot and to go do things unless it's in the middle of the day. Like I like to go to movies at noon on Saturdays, not in the evenings. But, oops, sorry. There's a truck out here, so she's all excited. So one of the things, a practice that I've developed is my house being a place where people come. So friends come over. Shasta, no, go out, go outside. Thank you. We have regular television dates or movie dates where people come here. And sometimes I cook for people, but in the past I've had potlucks, or I always have my grill fired up and people bring their own meat and we provide one dish and somebody else brings others. So there's ways to do connect with friends that doesn't take as much energy. Although you have to have at least enough energy to visit. And I hear some of you saying, I'm so tired, I don't even want to talk to anyone else. And that's real. That's real. I have those times too. But I just wanted to throw that out as one possible solution, is to have people come to you and to make it be something that could be a regular thing. So 2 of my friends and me and Angela are watching every Sunday morning a show. We just do that pretty regularly. And friends from a distance usually come to visit me. So it's one way to think about how do you do it. Being part of a writing group or a reading group is also something that can be easily done. Deb, one of my goals is to start a drumming group here at my house. I haven't done that yet this year, but it's a goal of mine to have people come here and do drumming, because it's really hard for me to get out and go to other places, and it takes a lot of energy. So I just want to throw those out as making an option for people to come to you.
Linda, may I add?
What's that?
May I add just another thought? You were speaking earlier about because of the social justice. I think one of the issues we have with the work that we do is that a lot of our work is also experiencing pain, people in difficulty and people struggling, or it's so, and I think doing this kind of work is generally you're attracted because you're an empath. So you pick up a lot of people's stuff, and so not knowing maybe, and who helps you process that? Who helps you? Where do you go to dump that? To download it, to offload it, and make it not yours? And you've done the piece you can do, and then how do you get back into your life, so to speak? So for me, the thought of people coming around to my house and spending time, I want to run a mile. My home is my cave and my sanctuary.
Okay.
There's one maybe once a week, or maybe every second week, that I'll have someone. I really just love the complete quiet, and to hear the birds, and and the quiet. That really is because I need my head to clear. So I think it's better, and also meditate, and I make sure that I get to my spiritual center twice a week, because I need the healing. I need the gausing, so to speak, because if I don't do that, I tend to own it or take it on. And I found, anyway, that's just experience from having burnout in my 30s and 40s, but not anymore.
Thank you, Karen. Alice?
What Karen said makes me want to share that I know some people who have practices at the end of the day to help them shift from work to home. So whether it is, and for some people, I think it can be, Karen, it came to my mind when you said, where do you go? Who do you share that with after you've been absorbing stuff all day? So sometimes I know some people who share that by speaking to somebody. I know other people who wash their hands at the end of the day symbolically to leave stuff behind from work, or they listen to a favorite song, or they move in a certain way. There is some ritual that they do that has to do with shifting from work to home, or work to non-work, whatever that is.
That's great. That's very important. Others?
I'm just like very curious to, I don't know if anybody actually also spaces the fact of guilt. Like, so if I take a burnout day out, or like if I'm not working, like, and there is like a lot of things that are pending up and like piling up, like, so consciously now I try and take like Sundays off, or like Saturday evenings and Sundays off. But like I start having a guilt later on that, oh damn, it wouldn't have piled up, or like the person would have, not felt ignored, or like I would have probably, like I just start feeling bad about the whole thing if I take a little, midday week off or something. So.
Yes, for me, I need to add something here. We need to practice a kind of delegation.
Practice what? I'm sorry?
Delegation.
To
delegate some things, or even delete something from your, let's say, to-do list. If you prepared your to-do list, try to delete many things. I've been practicing this for like a year now, and I find this is the best way to have more time and to set your priorities to achieve more. I deleted a lot of things from my daily practices, and I'm still alive, and
Yeah.
Are you deleting them from your work or from like your personal life? Or
from both. For example, I delegated things to my stuff, because I know my stuff are not I can do the job better than them, but I keep pressing them, teaching them, you need to do this. This is one way. Another way, there's a lot of emails that I used to respond to, I stopped responding to. And this is the most time I was consuming in responding on emails. So I start to minimize my responses and just screening the emails. This give you a lot of time. Even I was thinking, this is not good for URI. You need to communicate with people. You need to be responsive, but you cannot do all of this. You cannot. Every organization has something to comment and to say thanks for sharing. You know, these things. I used to think this is very important. Then I will keep receiving the updates about the other organization that somehow like-minded organization or interested in URI. They share their news and they expect you to read like 5-7 pages every week. I can't and comment. So I start to reduce my comment, and sometimes I don't respond at all.
I think, Ramon, I appreciate what you're sharing, and I think it's hard once you have started doing something to stop doing it. So once somebody expects you to respond in a certain amount of time, to stop responding, to then make those boundaries. Once you've started a project, but you realize I don't actually have time in my workload to do this project, so then you stop it. I mean, it's really hard. And then I think, Subi, the guilt you were talking about, I think I feel that in some ways, maybe not as strongly as you, but I think it's also very real. Most of us, I think, are one-person teams. We don't have somebody to delegate things to, really. Like I have volunteers, but it's I'm often in the role of supporting them, not the other way around. And so it is hard when we take time, either a sick day because our bodies are telling us to stop, or just vacation because of the nature of the way the RC job is structured. Things aren't happening when we leave, and so we come back to a mountain of work, which is then really exhausting once we've come back.
I think this piece of guilt is really important because an important subject to discuss, because we often, that's what keeps us working beyond what's really healthy. I wonder how people have redefined the guilt, if they have. Karen, you said you had so much burnouts in your 40s and 50s, and now you don't. How did you redefine not feeling guilty about taking time for yourself?
In my 30s and 40s, I'm in my 50s, hanging
there. Oh, sorry, I'm aging you.
Not 68.
Your 20s.
No.
I'm making you my age. Sorry.
I'm not far off, but anyway, hanging in there. So I think for me it was that I would kind of take it all on and think that I had a responsibility to fix it all. And so at some point I realized all I could do was the bit I could do. And then also realizing people have their own personal responsibilities. But I think now, for me, you or I was listening to you speaking, and I think because it's sometimes, and it really is, there are days when it's overwhelming. It's just so many calls, so many emails, so much, and the demand comes from a lot of people. Like if there's a lot of CC leaders or members or organizations are being called to a religious summit tomorrow, and then then there's just always, it's like relentless. And sometimes it can just feel overwhelming because you can't say no, because you don't want to drop an organization. You don't want to not reply to a CC leader. You don't want to. So like, I think for me, the struggle is around boundaries, and so the guilt comes in, like Mamoon was saying no. How do you say no to a CC leader? We can't.
Exactly.
So I think so it becomes really difficult when, we're growing the CCs and there's more people and we're engaging and now getting creative and interactive and there's all this action, but now you're a pivot point in that, and I think that's maybe where it becomes challenging. So I've worked within my region to try to find conduits of people. So like putting in a volunteer in Malawi so that some stuff goes through him, it can't all.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously some stuff goes through him, and then other with the team, the youth stuff, we try and get a lot of the youth people speaking to Sarah, so that's one. And the CISO, and then between us, we've split up our CC leaders, we've split it up so that each of us are responsible for a CC leader. So we try and streamline it a bit, but it's not everyone out there knows what we're doing. We can't go and tell everyone, well, don't talk to me, talk to so. It's a bit difficult to do that.
Yeah.
I can't tell someone, don't call me. How do I do that? So I think it's also just the job. It's a tough place to not feel guilty because I'm not quite sure how you do that actually, because, well, maybe not guilty. I just feel I am very responsible and principled.
Yeah.
Principle says, you have to respond. Principle says you've got to get something done to the best of your ability.
Sure.
That's perfect.
Sure.
Yes. I need to explain something here. When I'm saying learn to say no, I don't mean the work of RC. I mean, for us as a URI, we have done a lot of projects in the past for the local community, for the other NGOs, non-profits. Like we used to do back to school campaigns twice a year. We used to distribute food packages, clothes, and these are the beneficiary are the local communities, not CCs or not really a work of URI. But it's good that we are dealing with like-minded organization and we are spreading the URI message.
Mm-hmm.
And they, if you do something for a school, they will call you every year. Where is the bags? Where is the stationery? Where is the food packages? So you need to say no for them. This is what I meant. Because we are doing a lot of community service as part of engaging the URI community in Jordan. This is what I meant. You cannot serve everybody. Every day I receive phone calls. We haven't seen you for a while. Where you are distributing your food packages, where you are distributing the clothes. We have a lot of poor people in our village. These things was consuming a lot of my time. Trying to find fundraising for the other NGOs and make URI very visible and make URI very well known in Jordan. Mm-hmm. But I think this is, it's good to do it, but it's consume all your time.
Yes.
There's a lot of people in need in Jordan. Okay.
Thank you. Biswadeb?
So my experience is a little different. For me, I mean, it has to happen. A transformation had happened in 2007 or 8, I think. After that, URI is not a job for me. It's a way of life. Yeah. And I truly get exhausted physically, scientifically, but I don't get exhausted. If somebody tells me to perform tabla, I would perform it, and physically I would get a little exhausted, but mentally or by spirit wise, I'm never exhausted. I can play even after 12 in the midnight if I'm allowed to play. So similarly, URI has become just so inseparable in my life that even 12 in the midnight when I go to bed, and I truly, this is a gift probably spontaneously happened. I don't have any other life than URI. I go with friend that I work with. I do the party with the friend I work with. So I'm always updated. I go with the CC member that I work with. I don't have a separate life than URI. And my house is a railway station. It's very high notions. My home is a railway station. Nobody needs to ask to come in. So, and I have 2 refrigerators. People walk in and just get food, stuff. I had a very difficult time with my wife in the beginning, but it's somehow the God gift transformation that happened, that she understands she's not going to be able to change me. So I think in a way I don't get exhausted. And if right now, 12 in the midnight, if I'm allowed to talk from 2 in the morning to 4 in the morning or 6 in the morning, yahoo, I'm up to that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's a gift of the divine or the people blessings that it just happened. And I have accepted, been born in a culture, in a country where the sense of professionalism does not exist at all. People at 12 in the midnight call you, hey, my son was admitted in a hospital tonight. And do you know any doctors right now? And you can't say no. What Karen was saying, how can you say no? Because it's not just you or I, it's just a common humanity. We all were born, Swami Vivekananda said, to really serve the purpose to the humanity.
Yes.
And so my father was a great priest, so people have expectations and I may not be able to helpful or not, but it's just spontaneously my response goes to it. And I understand the physical exhaustions. I do feel sometimes exhausted to sleep more I needed to, but I don't feel guilty many times. Like if I'm not doing it, there's no question I'm not doing it. I'm something got to be doing it. So anyway, this is probably, I wanted to share different experience that I've been experiencing this time in my life.
So I do think, and I think I said this about social justice work because I think it's so much a part of people's lives, but it's also why it's really hard and why there's guilt feelings when you have to step back. But what I like about what you said is, can you think of rest and recuperation and visit with friends as an extension of the work that you live and do? So there is a way to do that as well. I have 2 more comments I want to take. Karima and Alice. Karima?
Yes. I wanted, let me first say in the chat, I can relate to everything. I can also relate to Despina, where she says, I'm learning and I'm trying that too, to express one's inability to support something because simply it doesn't work because time has a limit in a polite, friendly way. Yeah? So that's important, I think, because sometimes when I'm really rushed, I tend to become brief, more and more brief, and just to remember that, oh, you can still be very polite, and just try to make people understand. And the other thing I wanted to mention originally is that I really enjoy so much being with a team. I like these long-term relationships where we have really, really built strong bonds. And I think it's very important to spend time together. So I enjoy and I love to rely on the team. And I know other team members will also take on some jobs, and that's great.
Yeah.
So that's very important for me. And sometimes it's difficult because some people say, oh, this is, these old relationships, of course, and I hate to lose people who are, first I have a strong relationship with and who really know what the job is and who want to continue. So I am really so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah.
Alice?
I'm good, thanks. I just hadn't lowered my hand from when I raised it before.
Okay, all right.
I know there are some things in the chat. Have you seen that, Linda?
No, I haven't, so thank you. Trying to figure out. Where do I find chat? Oh, there it is.
On the bottom? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Oh, yeah. So definitely have to keep growing the network all the time. Yeah. So it seems like this feeling spreads thin and all. and constantly meeting more and more to continue relationships is a huge issue. And I'm wondering if maybe some of us would like to like take some more time to really think about how to deal with this. Like, how can we be in a healthy space under the need to continue to grow, continue to expand, and it's what we all want, but how do we do that in a way that's more and more healthy? And we did a session on building leadership and volunteers and how to delegate more, which takes more time in the beginning. But I wonder if there's a way we could actually look at that within the context of URI. And I would be willing to put some time into that if people wanted to think about that. And maybe we could come up with some ideas to present in June or something when y'all are all together. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out as one possibility, because I think there's, looking at the chat, there's some huge questions here that is part of the culture of the organization. But how do we begin to think about it in a creative way? I think Biswadeb has thought about his way to do this work in a very creative way that feeds him, but everybody's different. I would venture to guess Biswadeb is probably a 10 on the extrovert, because I am, and I recognize it. But as people have different needs, they need to be alone to rejuvenate and rest, or some people can do that in a group of people. So I just wonder if that would be something that would be helpful to people to think about deeper around this cultural piece.
Yeah, I would be interested. I feel like we need some solutions here, because I feel like we're talking about a lot of issues, but self-care is not the answer to all of them. Like, I think there are some structural things that have definitely come out.
Yeah, they
Linda?
need to be like a framework within which, if not everyone's on the same page, at least most of them or most of us can be on one of the pages. So it's not just self-care, but it's just like an overhauling of the structure.
Mm-hmm.
We can probably have some talk about it.
Linda? I think, Linda, when we were a smaller organization, it was easier to be more intimate and more connected when it's a smaller group of people. Less CCs, less organizations. So, when URI was a smaller organization, NGO. And now as it's growing and reaching into more and more countries, and so it's the infrastructure. So there's still, there weren't regional coordinators, and I would imagine, Biswadeb, you'd be able to answer this. There probably weren't regional coordinators. Maybe there was just a regional coordinator for a massive area, and then somehow that got broken down. So it might be that it's infrastructural, partly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there some volunteers who would like to have a call just to think about this? Sari?
Yeah, I'd be interested in being a part of that.
Me too.
Subi, I got your name. Good. All right. We're going to look deeper into this and come up with some ideas, or maybe come up with more questions, but we'll come back to you with something about this, because I do think there's some really big questions here. Some of it we can do practice around. I certainly recommend people, I love this idea of creating a ritual to let go of work and come into our home and our personal space. Or just if that's like listening to a piece of music, or dancing, or doing something really fun. So I'll set up a call with you, Sari, Subi, and Karen. And we'll go.
I think Frederica also raised her hand, probably. I think.
What's that? Frederica, you raised your hand. Would you like to be a part of that? Great. Great.
And Linda, may I just add, I love that that conversation is going to take place. It feels really important to me. And I just want to flag something that Sari named also that might fit into that, which is the mountain of work that awaits, upon returning from vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And how to think creatively, or what's to be done there besides returning from what hopefully was a restorative experience and then just getting slammed and overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. Boom.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Good. Thank you. And this has been a wonderful conversation. I think we did have a few answers. I'm really pleased at how many people have attempted to do new things and make efforts, and I hope you'll continue to do that. And we'll keep this conversation alive. I'm happy about that. So, yes.
I would like to just offer one of my thoughts that, we have worked in the past in a similar situations where group-wise we worked to think more like what was the reason that was holding us back, not letting us to unleash the most ideal state of the organization we would like to see. And in that questions, most of the time we have worked like as an organization whole, we have thought about it. But also at an individual level, I think it's really, I would like to put this on the table, that how as an individual, what are the things that are holding us back? It's very important for us sometimes to look at our own structural framework that we create. And somehow many times I find that it's both, not only just an exclusive part of it as an organizational whole, but as an individual. What are the things that we can, grow up and manifest the best out of what we're doing?
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for this wonderful conversation. It's time. It's not time for us to close, is it? We have 30 more minutes? Oh my goodness. I was thinking we were totally out of time for a minute.
Linda, may I say something while you find your feet there? I just want to speak on behalf of Despina, whose daughter went into the hospital 2 days ago. And so Despina is with us on the phone right now, and she's listening. And as you know, she has contributed a little bit in the chat. But I just wanted to let you know that that's why we're not seeing her, is because she's in the hospital with her daughter.
Yes. Despina, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your daughter as well. So thank you. Thank you for even being present. I appreciate it. Oh, good. So let's just start thinking about what would be the questions around the structural or the infrastructure of URI. What are some questions that you would want this group of people to think about? Or any suggestions as well. We'll do questions and suggestions. Just tell me which one you're referring to when you talk. I'm a terrible speller here. I'm trying to type on a different screen that's up here, so if you see me looking up, that's why.
I have a suggestion regarding the work of RCs.
Okay.
Most of our time is consumed by, questions from the CCs. And if you send somebody to CC, something to CC in writing, they will not read, or I don't feel that they tend to read more than 3 lines or 4 lines. And this is connected with the infrastructure. As URI is growing and the CCs are growing, we need a kind of simple videos that explain the URI PPs, for example, the principles of URI, for example, in a short videos that people enjoy watching instead of reading, because each time I have to respond to the questions regarding to fundraising, regarding to training, regarding to how they can get benefit from joining URI, or URI does not care about us. These things are, almost our daily issue with CCs. If we have something like a videos explaining the responsibilities of CCs, the PPs, all these things that core of URI work, I think this will save a lot of time.
Hey, great suggestion. Great.
That just makes me want to say, I wonder if in June we could record it. Like maybe we could figure out the script ahead of time, and then lots of different RCs could have different lines, and so then it could be a composite video of lots of different RC voices, which would also at the same time reinforce the global aspect of the network.
And in different languages as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great idea.
Also, what worked best is the local relevance of the interfaith cooperation. For numbers of years, we've been trying to really, Mamoon, just adding on to what you were saying, we have the same questions in the regions, how to get benefit, what are the benefits to be connected with the network. I think, it was the very longest years we were trying to feed people with a piece of information, same time repeating again and again about this is the charter. And then there was a time, I think we had to make people locally understand how the charter fits and relevance with the world local issues and needs are. And then, people were really interested. I would just conclude with one example in our region. When we were raising a campaign on Save the River, we found out that the local relevance were really so interested on really protecting the river for safe drinking water. And the common cause, local cause was very propelling, was so kind of burning issues that people were so involved with URI, of people lived along the riverside of tribal, Muslim, and Christians communities wanted to come together to really protect the river. And then the meaning of interfaith was deeply appreciated and understood. Even though we talked before, we did workshop in the area to talk about the values of promoting interfaith cooperation, it didn't get to the heart of the people until we really raised the campaign of Save the River. And that water of the river was the source of drinking water to all these communities that were polluted by the degraded, the companies, mining companies. So when we started the campaign against the mining companies, people from Christian community, Muslim community, Hindu, as well as tribal, they're more tradition than religion tribal, came together, says, yes, we need to save the water because all of us drinking the polluted water. So this was the local relevancy. I think we need to more deeply pay attention at the grassroots level to create more relevancy into the interfaith aspect with the burning issues. And that's what people really know about URI. And then it is easy for our job to really promote the value of interfaith aspects. And in this case, the Christian community was so highly learned and educated information that they could provide us very important information to go against the mining companies to file a charge sheets to the court because they provided a good information. So one community could bring this amazing strength of information that could help the whole community to lead the movement campaign against the river pollution. And we didn't know before. So this is just an example, in our region that took place. Was amazing, and we are trying to find more causes locally to really bring interfaith aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is kind of related, but just the reality though is that not all of our regions are the same size geographically or a number of CCs. So some of us have no CCs within a 3-hour drive of our proximity. I can't go and spend time with my friends from URI in my personal life because they don't live near here. So there's just the reality of like some of our regions are really different, and also the RC job, there's no like, okay, one RC or one part-time RC for every X number of CCs, which means that the expectations across the network are really different because you have some RCs who are responsible for hundreds of CCs and some RCs who are responsible for 24. And so there's not like a standard experience of URI, but those same RCs who are responsible for a lot of CCs are getting the same messaging about how much we're supposed to be in contact with CCs. As I understand it, the same requirements are, of our work of how we remain in contact with them. So I think that makes it difficult as well because there's not a standardization around number of CCs per staff member.
Good point. Thank you. Thank you. That makes it even more challenging. Great. Anyone else?
Linda, I just popped a note into the chat, so if you want to just take it from there, you're most welcome.
Oh gosh, oh yes, I see it. Can we use AI as a tool to find what is personal development, behavior, and instructional? I think that's a good point, a really good point. Yes, we can. I'm going to put that as a suggestion.
Can I just ask, Karen, can you say a little bit more about how you envision using AI as a tool, like with whom?
Mm-hmm.
And the volunteer conversation out of the group that Linda's going to set up a call with.
Oh, doing AI in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and even generally, just the Appreciative Inquiry tool. It's the base of URI, but we don't use it enough. And I think sometimes it really helps us bring some stuff up that's useful. But yeah, just for the call is what I meant, though.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
Great. Any other questions that you would like this group to sit with or suggestions? I think these have been a combination of questions and suggestions, so this is great. Any other ideas about structure or challenges?
I think one of the challenges is the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we have resources to hold assemblies every year for all CCs, this will save a lot.
Yep. Resources to hold a what? An assembly?
Assembly, like a conference, a gathering for all CCs, face to face, and we learn more about all of them instead of half of them or the majority of them.
Okay.
Because we are growing, we cannot. For me, I cannot invite 80 persons for assembly. It will cost a lot.
Right. Right. That's a very good point. Okay. Anything else?
Linda, if I can just reflect, I think what I'm hearing in the conversation is that the URI model as it was worked before, but as it's grown, it's now taking strain. And so that means that URI as a model in terms of its structure needs transformation. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing that too.
And that's challenging, but it's exciting.
Right. Great.
And I love that it's coming up in this conversation. It feels so helpful and important, and like a really nice outgrowth of these monthly sessions that we're having with you, Linda. I love hearing what's coming out of it, because it just feels so important for the organization.
Absolutely.
So I'm grateful to everybody's input.
So in the last 13 minutes we have, what I would like to ask is, if I can get my computer working again, if we would think about, let me think how to ask this question. If we could imagine a transformation at URI in the structure, infrastructure, what is one thing that you think would be different? What is one maybe structural thing that you would see being different? An example might be, we have funds to bring together our CCs regionally. That would be one thing that's already been mentioned. What are some others?
Sorry, Linda, but are you asking to name like what needs to change or what the change would be?
What the change would look like.
Thank you.
If we had a transformation at URI to make the structure be more doable for you, what is one structural change that you could see that might have happened?
I think to engage CCs, we need to give them some incentives, like a monthly award for the best CC.
A monthly what?
Award or present or a grant or...
I think he's saying an award.
An award, yes.
An award. I like that.
URI be recognized by the government in every country and have partner with the government in the Department of Interreligious or Interfaith or Peace Building Department, however locally. It's like, it's a UN of religion.
Okay.
It's kind of, have URI be partnered with government in all the countries. So it's recognized by the government as a certain way of partnering with the government. So it's worked with the government Department of Peace Building, or however locally it's been framed. So,
okay,
you know, it's, yeah.
Beautiful.
I think that if we had a positive change, I would see clearer goals and expectations so that we knew as an organization if we were meeting our goals, and if as staff members, like being able to actually say, yes, we had success because we knew what the benchmark was and we reached it.
You're saying as a whole organization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great.
Linda?
Yeah.
For myself, I think it's where we'd have full-time staff fully paid. So a lot of people are part-time people working part-time, so it's bitty sometimes, and I think that's where we drop. It's not necessarily an 100% solution, but I think it could create more, cover the thinness and just bring maybe, I don't know, maybe more depth. I find it extremely difficult to tell my CC members, I'm sorry, I'm working today. I'm doing other work today. I can't deal with this, but I will get back to you first thing tomorrow or Wednesday, which is then, the day that I'm doing all my URI stuff. So I think sometimes that's awkward. Yeah, it's really awkward and embarrassing sometimes. Anyway, yeah, that would be one thing structurally.
What else would you see structurally that would be different?
To have several sub-regions in every region, just to be more involved in group of CCs, not to be in contact with all CCs in the region. It will be helpful, especially for Europe.
So more sub-regions within the regions.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm often thinking.
In my region, we have an issue with the CCs because the only group who join are the ones who are not able to establish themselves or get official registration as an organization. So they use URI as an umbrella to cover their activities, which is good. But these groups, with time, we teach them, they get involved in our work, then they go solo and establish their own organization and, lose interest or connection with URI. So we need more well-established organization to join URI.
Good.
I was thinking about the clear goals and expectations that could be both for us, but also in regard to CCs. What kind of services is it that URI wants to give, and what are the expectations on the other hand, which URI has, like reporting, etc., or participating in campaigns, etc. Because it seems to me that we have the interfaith groups who want to be connected internationally. There might be lots of other interfaith groups, but they just do their work. But in URI, probably what URI can give is really the international connection. And in any case, it might be interesting to spell out what is it exactly that URI wants to offer, to CCs can offer. And I was thinking of country contacts often. Could there be volunteers in countries who help make closer connection with a cluster of CCs?
Okay, great.
One more thing I think we need to consider, there is global donors like European Union, but they consider many URI, let's say, affiliates as an American organization, not a local, despite the fact that these CCs are local organizations. So if we can have a kind of a relationship with the big donors like European Union, the embassies, to explain that URI is doing local work, even though they are connected with a global organization.
So let me get this straight. So the European unions are donors to the international, to the whole URI, or
we have groups like our organization in Jordan is a rep office for URI. It's like a non-operative organization. So we cannot be involved in grants funded by European unions.
Gotcha.
They need to understand that this is the structure. We are a global organization, but we are serving local purposes. So we are eligible for the grants.
Gotcha.
I think this could be in the level of the executive director of URI to contact the European Union and try to sort it out.
And even Musi.
Yes, Musi can do a good job.
Also, International URI Mentorship Group. What what I feel like when we say CCs are very connected globally, so they feel good about it, to connected with a global group, it's an international group, but would be good to have them the opportunity to connect with more internationally. Being just affiliated with URI does not, they know that they're part of the international group, but truly the level of interactions that needed to happen in across countries and regionally, it's so less for a CC group. I mean, I would not have much time anymore to interact with a CC from other countries. So how can we create an international mentorship group who will be available for the CCs all around the country to really mentor them, discuss with them, so they feel they're connected, but also it's happening in real life. So they can talk to a person from other country. They can talk to a mentor group for what they're doing. It's really amazing strength when people get connected with the international group. We need to somehow allow the connections in reality is happening.
Great.
And Linda, from the chat, Despina named a couple of challenges before: the geographical spread of the regions, the diversities of languages, and her answer to this question now about change is better and stronger communication infrastructure among CCs would be something that would be different, especially in Africa.
Yes. Okay.
And I'm also thinking of membership benefits, because, for example, URI has so great resources, but basically they're open to everybody, whether you're a CC or not. Sometimes I'm thinking it'd be nice to offer something specifically for URI CCs and members, clear benefits, membership benefits. We have them, but very informally. I mean, and not spelled out.
Okay.
I'm feeling like the challenge in all of this is that what I often feel in my job as RCs is there's so many things that I could do, right? But I think my understanding of what the subgroup that is going to try to simplify, right? Try to cause less work or solve some of these problems for RCs. And it's like, how do you come up with solutions that are actually doable and not just adding more stress and more work that we don't have time for?
Agreed.
And thank you all, by the way, for agreeing to take on the challenge.
Yeah. Okay. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. Thanks especially to Despina for coming on when her daughter's in the hospital. And thank you, Frederica, when you have a foot of snow coming outside and your daughter's at home. So all of us, some of us have extra challenges today, and I really appreciate the time. I close with asking you to just put your hands over your heart and breathe in energy and peace into your heart. And breathe out any of the stress that this conversation has made you feel, because it's a lot. And breathe in some relaxation and honoring the brilliance of this group. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, my friends.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Bye, everyone. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 you.
Sleep well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm going to perform my tabla now. I'm so
Very good.
excited.
Very good. Sumi's ready.
I know.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good day.